Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I feel a little rusty right now. Took the week off, but hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday, and gonna have a good New Year's this
hmm
week. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, man, I did.
All right, nice. All right, well, we're just going to get started like we always do with our hot take of the week. So go ahead.
So my hot take of the week, I don't know if it's too hot, the fact that these guys have been absolutely balling, but um, my hot take is that this could potentially be the best rookie class we may have ever seen,
Mm,
in modern day era at least. Bowers and Neighbors are leading rookie receptions right now, and them along with Brian Thomas Jr. Are top 10 in receiving yards this year. So, and that's with Bowers and Neighbors having absolutely horrible quarterbacks this year. And Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and from what we saw of Michael Penix Jr., have shown that they could potentially be the franchise guys for their organizations. And just that's just the offensive side of the ball of things. But I really think that this could potentially be like the best rookie class we may have ever seen.
yeah, I like that. I agree with that. I think it's been a very good class so far. You're going to like my hot take of the week because my hot take of the week is the Eagles' offense is still just as good with or without Jalen Hurts. They beat the Cowboys 41-7, and to be quite honest, Kenny Pickett did just about the same as Jalen Hurts would,
hmm
minus the run in. I don't remember his exact numbers. I think it was like 10 of 15 for 100 something yards, 2 touchdowns. But they looked perfectly okay without Jalen Hurts. Saquon still had a big game. Devontae Smith had a big game. Obviously, you still have A.J. Brown. So I'm sorry, but to the people that are trying to do the whole Jalen Hurts as a top tier QB, I think it's time we start being real with ourselves here. I think he's set around a great offense, and it's funny. It's the same kind of fans that say like, "Oh, Tua and Brock Purdy are, not that good of quarterbacks. They're just surrounded by a good offense." But then talk about Jalen Hurts and say how he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I don't know. To me personally, I don't know. Maybe you can touch on it a little bit. To me, it looks like they don't really need him that much, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking through like some of the comments on under, the posts that they're posting to the NFL account. And they're saying like Pickett might look a little better, well, in that game that we've seen than Jalen Hurts did.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that Jalen Hurts kind of is being padded by the whole tush push and
Mm-hmm.
rushing touchdowns thing. So I can't stress it enough on how many touchdowns Saquon would have if it wasn't for all of that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great hot take. That's I'm not a big Jalen Hurts believer, but yeah, I hope this kind of shows that exposes him. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays out.
All right. Nice. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is our underdogs of the week. This is just where we point out someone that doesn't get talked about as much. So, Mason, who's your underdog this week?
So this guy, I don't think he's been much of an underdog lately. Just the way he's been producing. Is Los Angeles Chargers Lad McConkey. I've been
Mm,
high on this guy all year. He's an absolutely amazing receiver. Rookie out of Georgia, 8 receptions, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a 40-7 win over New England Patriots to clinch a playoff spot. He's proven to be the wide receiver one of this organization. Everyone was hoping it would be that other guy. I'm not too. I forgot what his name was. But the
Quentin
guy number
Johnson?
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone said that like they thought he was gonna be the wide receiver one. Time proved that he was not the guy, and then this guy comes in and absolutely dominates. So, yeah, Lad McConkey is my underdog of the week.
Yeah, I'm a big Lad McConkey fan, so I like that pick. He's been
hmm
absolutely phenomenal this year, so I agree with that. My underdog of the week is a little bit of a biased pick, but I'm going with Tyler Huntley. Um, the Dolphins needed to win this last week if they wanted to keep any playoff hopes alive. And I'm sure once a lot of Dolphins fans saw that Tua was out, we kind of lost hope on that. But Tyler Huntley came out and put up a really good game. Now, it was against Cleveland, but He finished 22 of 26 for 225 yards. He had 7 carries for 52 yards, and he had 2 total touchdowns, 1 pass and 1 rushing. He looks so much more comfortable than he looked earlier in the season. I think that's just because he's gotten to be with the team a little bit longer now, got used to the system a little bit more. So he's looked, or he did look really good this last week. And if Tua can't go again on Sunday against the Jets, then I do have confidence in him. So I just wanted to shout out Tyler Huntley because he was kind of dealt a bad hand earlier in the year, and this is kind of good to see him get his moment this season. So yeah.
Nice.
All right, now we're going to stick with the NFL and we're going to slide into our game prediction update. This is where every week on TikTok and Instagram at GM Sports Report, we predict every single game every week for the NFL. Now, we did take last week off because of Christmas, obviously, but we're heading into the final week. And right now, there's a 3-game separation. I have a 172-68 record, and Mason, you have a 169-71 record. So 3-game difference. And you know what? To give you a chance to try to tie it or take the lead, I will send you my picks first so you can try to pick different, because I know you're going to need to go for a Hail Mary here.
Yeah, especially taking last week off. I knew you wanted to do that on purpose, so I couldn't.
No,
get the games
it was
back,
Christmas,
which is totally
Come
understandable.
On.
It's understandable. I get it. But yeah, we'll see if I can.
I'll send you my. I'll give you a chance. I didn't think about that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right. Now to stick with the NFL, we're going to give our 3 takeaways from the previous week of football. So Mason, I'll let you go ahead and give your 3 takeaways.
All right. So my first takeaway is that the NFC conference this year may be the best we've ever seen it. Teams such as the 13-3 Eagles, 14-2 Lions and Vikings, 11-5 Commanders and Packers. I mean, they just all have been amazing, and 3 out of those 5 teams that I've just mentioned are all in the NFC North. So if that doesn't tell you how impressive that division is, I don't know what else you really need to see. It's just looking at the numbers and like the guys that have been producing in the NFC this year has been ridiculous. So I'm really excited for the playoffs to start and kind of see these guys, really put the pedal to the metal and see what they can do. So that's my first takeaway. And then my second one is Jared Goff and the Lions had a huge win against the Niners. And what looked like a pretty close game until Purdy threw his second interception of the night. Goff had 76 completion percentage, 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Jahmyr Gibbs had an amazing game, 18 carries, 117 yards and touchdown. And then Kirby Joseph, defensive back, 2 interceptions and 39 return yards. Vikings and Lions face off this Sunday night. So that's going to be a pretty big game. And I got 2 words for you: Vikings and Lions must see TV. So yeah, that's
gonna be
my
fun.
second one. Yeah, and then the other one is a team that I really wanted to see do well this season, just couldn't get it together. Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense continue to keep their playoff dreams alive. And a 30-24 win again in overtime against the Broncos. I'll tell you, the Broncos had 2 opportunities in overtime to win that game and couldn't get it done. So the Bengals should not have won that game at all, but they pulled it out. So Burrow has 70% completion percentage, 412 yards, 3 touchdowns. T. Higgins had an amazing game. He was questionable last week. 11 receptions, 131 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 102 yards. So, yeah, those are my takeaways. Guys just been balling this week, and yeah, it's been good to see.
I like it. I like all 3 of them. I'm going to start with my first takeaway, and that's that the Chargers are a legit team this year, and I don't want anyone to be surprised if they make some noise in the playoffs. They've started to string some pretty impressive wins together the last couple weeks. Justin Herbert has looked phenomenal, and like we said earlier, Ladd McConkey has looked great. Getting J.K. Dobbins back, so starting to look like a pretty serious team that can make some noise here. Their defense is phenomenal. So, yeah, that's my first takeaway. Just wanted to shout him out. Number 2, I got to go with my boy on the podcast, Baker Mayfield. His season is just not being talked about enough, I feel like. Last week, he went 27 of 32 for 359 yards and 5 touchdowns. And this season, he's thrown for 4,279 yards, which is second, 39 touchdowns, which is second. He has 15 interceptions, and they most likely will make the playoffs at 88%. And this is while dealing with a big injury bug on that team, with Godwin missing time, obviously. Mike Evans had to miss a little bit of time. Rashad White's been in and out. Bucky Irvin's even dealt with some injuries. So this has been a pretty banged up team, and Baker Mayfield's kind of kept the ship afloat. And he's putting together a really, really good season. And I kind of hinted at this in week one. I went on the crazier side saying he should be a dark horse MVP candidate, but I was serious in the fact that I think he was going to have a really good season, and he's done just that. So just wanted to shout out Baker Mayfield for my second takeaway. Number 3, this is something I feel like isn't also being talked about enough, which is the Cardinals are one of the most disappointing teams this season.
Yeah.
They're 7-9 right now, and they're not going to make the playoffs. And you just look at their roster, and I don't know about you, but I look at it and I'm like, how is this team not a playoff team? I mean, you got Kyler Murray, you drafted Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride's one of the best receiving tight ends in the league right now. James Conner's been phenomenal this week. I just do not get how you can't string some wins together. You got some guys on defense that are pretty decent too. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they've put together a really disappointed season, and it's not being talked about at all. Because I know if we looked back at week one, I think I said I expected them to be a sleeper team this season, and they haven't been. So yeah,
Nope.
that's my number 3. So they're my 3 takeaways.
Yeah, I like it. Another quick shout out I want to give. I know all Giants fans are kind of upset, but this guy comes in every once a season. Is Drew Lock. You know, he had 309 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 in the air, 1 rushing. I mean, Giants had a great win despite losing number 1 pick. So just had to shout him out real quick.
Hey, you might not even need to draft a quarterback anymore with the way Drew Lock played last week.
Yeah, you better chill out.
Okay. Now for the last thing in the NFL, I just want to get a quick little Super Bowl prediction update. These aren't our official predictions. We'll get into that in the following weeks once the playoffs start. But I just want to get what you're feeling right now for the Super Bowl prediction.
Okay, so rough draft kinda is coming out of the AFC. I'm gonna pick the Bills. And then coming out of NFC, I still think it's gonna be the Lions.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen any flaws with them other than maybe their DBs, but yeah, and then I think if they were to face off in the Super Bowl, I think Bills would win 42-35. That's just my prediction since they did beat the Lions already, I think. But yeah.
So my Super Bowl prediction, I haven't even said this yet. This has just been based off the past couple weeks. I'm going with the Chiefs and the Vikings. Now, the Chiefs, when you get in the playoffs, I mean, they haven't looked like the best team in the AFC. I will say that. The Bills have. But you look at the Chiefs, and, you know, when playoff time comes around, Patrick Mahomes turns into a different animal. They always seem to find their way in, so that's why I'm going with them. And when I look at the Vikings, you know, both them and the Lions have the same record right now. And over the past couple weeks, the Vikings have been impressing me more than the Lions, just straight up. The Lions have been dealing with a lot of injuries, so I think that kind of has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But I look at the Vikings, I think they have just as explosive as an offense as the Lions do. I mean, Addison has been phenomenal for them, as also Jefferson has. Sam Darnold's continued to be amazing. Aaron Jones has been pretty solid. The tight end, Hawkinson, has been heating up after missing some time earlier in the year. So their offense is phenomenal, and then their defense is really good as well. So
Yeah.
I think the defense is just a little bit better than the Lions. So I think, in my opinion, that gives them the edge. But we're
Yeah.
going to find out this weekend if the Vikings or Lions
Yeah,
are
I'm
the team
very
to watch. So
excited
my
to
opinion will change depending on the winner of that game. But for right now,
yeah.
after what I've seen the last couple of weeks, I'm going with the Vikings for right now, which I know is a little bit of a hot take.
So we can agree that AFC Championship will be Bills Chiefs, and then NFC will probably be Lions Vikings.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's kind of what it's looking like.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. And I would not be surprised at all if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl. I just think
Right.
the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs usually do,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, all right, now we're going to slide over into the NBA, and we're just going to start with our player of the week. So, Mason, who's your player of the week in the NBA?
I'm gonna be the guy we've been pretty much talking about all season. I just can't really deny his greatness. Been top three in everything so far this season, and that's Nikola Jokic.
Hmm.
30.8 points per game, 9.5 assists per game, and then 12.5 rebounds per game, averaging almost a triple double a game, and haven't really seen this consistently since I'd say OKC Russ days. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just been phenomenal, and I think if they were to give out the MVP today, it would undoubtedly probably go to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's just so valuable to that Nuggets offense.
Yeah.
If they don't
Mhm.
have him, they're just a terrible
Oh,
team.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. My player of the week, I'm giving it to Shai Alexander, SGA.
Mhm.
He's averaged in the last week 35.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Um, the team has been incredible. OKC has. Um, I think they're 10-0 in their last 10, which is just
Mm.
incredible. They've been a really impressive team, and SGA has been the leader of that team. So I just wanted to shout him out. He won Western Conference Player of the Week this last week. So yeah, that's my pick.
Nice.
All right. Now we're going to slide into our team of the week. So go ahead.
I'm gonna be a little biased this
I
week
knew you were going
just
to pick
'cause,
them.
I
I knew you
yeah,
were going to pick
I
them
kind of I didn't really
because
I
I
haven't really
almost
been
picked
talking
them,
about
and
them
I'm
too
like,
much.
I
Okay.
know he's going to
Alright.
pick them, so
Alright.
I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks. Won 8 of the last 8 games. 8 weeks in a row. Ending 2024 season strong. I guess they took Trey Young's dice roll a little what's it called personally, and then came out swinging. I've been to I think 2 of the games in the past week or so, and that was both in Orlando, and it's just been a very fun games to watch, and yeah, so they're my team of the week. You can't be doing this when you said you almost picked them. What would you have said? Yeah, what I would like to hear what you'd say if you picked the Knicks,
I
like
didn't
your
pick them.
reasoning.
So,
Right, but you almost
all
did.
right. My team of the week,
Oh,
I went with a
please.
team that has kind of not been talked about as much after their incredible start to the season, but they've been just as dominant. And that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 9-1 in their last
Yep.
10, and they're continuing to dominate. Number one in the East, and they're up by like 5 games right now, I believe. I think they have 4 losses, and I think the Celtics are at 9 losses
Yeah.
right now. So no one's talking about them anymore. They were talking about them the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season when they were making that run, but it's died off. But I don't know why, because they're dominating just the same as they have been
Yeah.
all season long. So I wanted to shout them out.
It's like once they got their first win, everyone just kinda, like, shut up about them,
I
and it's
know.
like, well, they're only at 4 losses, so
I
this is
know.
insane, but yeah.
They have less losses than OKC, who's number one in the West, and OKC's 10-0 in their last 10. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's just something to say
Yep.
about how good they've been. So
Yep.
all right, and now we've gotten a little bit into the NBA season. I think we're probably like a quarter in. So I just want to know what your biggest takeaway is from the NBA so far.
So my biggest takeaway isn't about any team or, thing specifically, but I'd say it's teams are definitely starting to kind of fall into place on what they're expected to be this season.
Hmm.
We've gotten, like you said, into a quarter of the season, so you can kind of tell, say, if you're to bet on like who's to win what games. I think you get a pretty fair shot and getting about 75% right. There's a couple upsets here and there, maybe some back to backs that teams may lose. But teams that we expected to be high on and that have been high, they've been proven to be that way. But teams that we may have not expected to be as bad, they've been continuously bad. The only team that I could say is kind of starting to pick it up is the 76ers a little bit ever since they got Embiid back. But even them, they're still kind of dealing with their stuff over there. But
Right.
yeah, that's kind of my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I think that's a good takeaway. My takeaway is just something that I've noticed this season. the youth is taking over the league right now.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you look at some of the most competitive teams in the league, like OKC, Cleveland,
Mhm.
even Boston's got a
Cleveland,
lot of
yep.
young guys on their team. If you look at their
Mhm.
core, it's all players in their 20s or no later than early 30s. And you look at the teams with the older stars, like the Heat, like the Lakers, like the Suns,
Lakers,
they're kind of just
yeah.
like mediocre teams. And they have like these players that are considered stars, but they're older stars. The Kings, who have DeMar DeRozan.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of weird to see this like shift of like this young talent coming in and kind of just taking the league by storm. Because back in the day, if you look back like 10 years ago, you look at like the 2013 Heat, you got all these old seasoned veterans on their team, like these guys
Yep.
that have been around the league for a long time. And usually that's the winning recipe, or at least that's what it used to be. That Spurs team that had Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, all those guys were well into their 30s when they were successful. So it's just kind of weird to see like the shift of like these guys coming into the league in their early 20s, sometimes even 19 years old.
Yeah.
And it only takes them a couple years to get ready. And then boom, all of a sudden they're some of the best players in the league. So that's been my biggest takeaway, is that youth is as valuable as it has ever been in the league. And now all these older veterans that you used to want for a championship contended team are becoming less and less valuable, which is kind of crazy to see. So that's my biggest
Yep.
takeaway.
No, I like that. And I definitely say that the game is kind of evolving as far as age-wise, like you just
Hmm.
said. And as a Knicks fan who traded away a whole bunch of just picks for Mikal Bridges. It's kind of definitely scary to see. Luckily Mikal's stepped it up and been
Right.
somewhat of the player that he was last year. But yeah, it's just picks are valuable. Draft is gonna be so
For
valuable in
sure.
these upcoming years. So it's definitely a great I guess takeaway. So yeah.
I mean, just to put it into perspective, you're seeing like really good NBA players get
Hmm.
moved for like 3 second round picks, not even first round picks. Second
Yeah.
round picks are just as valuable now as a late first round pick was. I mean,
Hmm.
I know for a good example, like the Miami Heat second round pick, Pele Larson, he's been playing more than our first round pick has been playing. So it's just so weird to see the shift, because back in the day, a second round pick was nothing. Like that didn't get you
Yeah.
anywhere. And now all of a sudden it's landing you like these good players. And I even saw rumors about guys like Kyle Kuzma and Vukovic that they'd be moved for a couple second round picks, not even first round picks, which is just crazy to me. So it's so weird to see this shift. But yeah, that's my biggest takeaway in the NBA. The game is definitely changing.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to slide into college football. The quarterfinals are this week, actually starting today, right? Yeah, today and tomorrow.
Yep. Yep. Today. Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and get our predictions on the record book, so to speak. So we're going to start with number 3 Boise State versus number 6 Penn State. Who do you got winning?
Okay, so I've been high on Ashton Genty all year. Everyone knows that I'm the biggest Ashton Genty fan. But if we're gonna put team to team and see who's gonna win, Penn State is gonna win this game. Boise State definitely was clouded by their conference. Let's not lie. Um, no matter how good Ashton Genty is, he is not able to play defense against a powerful Penn State offense with Tyler Warren and Singleton. These guys that are just been amazing. So I think Penn State is gonna hopefully not kill them, but beat them just because of how bad these playoff games have been lately. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think Ashton Genty can only take you so far. And for that
yeah,
reason, I'm going with Penn State. Penn State's just a powerhouse school. They always are. And, we've talked about it. Their offense
hmm
with Warren, Singleton, good quarterback. I mean, I just see Penn State handling them pretty easily. But we'll see.
hmm
There's always upsets in college football. But I just think, like you said, Ashton Genty is basically the reason that Boise State got to the
yeah,
position they're at. And at the end of the day, Ashton Genty can't play defense. And I
yeah.
think that's what it's going to come down to. All right. So now the next game is going to be number 4, Arizona State versus number 5, Texas. Who you got winning that game?
All right, real quick, just because we said Ashton Jetty can't play defense doesn't mean that gives all the Travis Hunter fans fuel. All right, so
But I have to get that
that's one
out.
thing. Yeah, as soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, I got to clear it out because these guys are gonna rip us. Anyways,
I mean,
Arizona
it might
State
be
versus Texas.
now that I
Nope,
think
don't do
about
it.
it. I'm just kidding.
Nope, don't do it. I think Texas is gonna win. Arizona State has good players. I mean, they got Scatterboo. I haven't really been watching them too much this year. The only thing I'm scared about with Texas is Quinn Ewers because last in the SEC championship against Georgia, he was not looking too good. So hopefully he can kind of pick it up against Arizona State and a weaker team. So I'm gonna pick Texas. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm also gonna pick Texas. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head, so I won't touch on that too
Yeah.
much. So yeah, Texas. Then the following game we have number 1 Oregon versus number 8 Ohio State. Who you got winning that game?
I have number one Oregon winning. It's just they're a much more complete team, and the thing that's kind of stained Ohio State for me was that Michigan game. Michigan wasn't even ranked, and they come in and beat Ohio State at home. So that's kind of like, well, if they can do that, what can't the Oregon Ducks do? I mean, they got Dylan Gabriel, they got other guys that have been absolutely amazing. So yeah, Oregon's I think gonna kill them.
Yeah, I also picked Oregon. I picked Oregon to win the championship,
Hmm.
so yeah,
Oh
it'd be
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of hypocritical to not pick Oregon here.
Hmm.
All right, and then the last game is number 2 Georgia versus number 7 Notre Dame. Who you got winning that game?
I think that this one is going to be an upset. I think Notre Dame's going to beat Georgia. Everyone's so high on Georgia this year. I mean, Carson Beck is not good, in my opinion. He's not good. And they have, Trevor Etienne, who's a pretty good running back. But the reason why they got so far in our rank number two was because of their defense. Their defense is absolutely phenomenal. Always has. It's like they're been their staple of their team. But Notre Dame has a very good offense, and Riley Leonard and what's his? Oh yeah, Jeremiah Love. I mean, just guys that have been amazing this year. So I think this is going to be my favorite game to watch, other than probably Penn State, Boise State. Um, I think Notre Dame's going to win this game.
So I also picked this to be an upset game. I'm not as high on Georgia like you said either.
Yep.
And I think Notre Dame has shown signs of being a really dominant team. And like when
Mhm.
they're clicking, they look like one of the best teams in college football, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think that if they go in and they get in a rhythm, that they can seriously upset Georgia. So yeah, I'm also
Yeah.
gonna go with Notre Dame because there's always an upset in college football. So I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be the
Yeah.
one.
Carson Beck isn't even playing. He's done for the
Yeah.
season too.
Yep.
He's got season-ending surgery. So I don't
Yeah,
know if
knee
this
surgery.
guy. I don't know who the quarterback. No, I don't know who the quarterback is for Georgia. I didn't really look it up. Um, but I don't think they'll be able to get it done against the powerful Notre Dame defense. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we'll see in the next couple days if our predictions are right or wrong. But I kind of like our
Yep.
picks. I think we agreed on every single one. So
Mhm.
that's a first. All
All
right.
right.
Now we're gonna head into our final segment of the show with a GM top three. Now, tonight is New Year's Eve at the time of recording this. So I thought, what better way to celebrate New Year's Eve by giving our New Year's resolution for each of our favorite teams. So we'll go back and forth, starting with our NFL team, followed by NBA, then MLB, about our New Year's
Mhm.
resolution for that team, what their New Year's resolution should be. So, Mason, go ahead and start with the Giants.
All right. So the Giants. Everyone knows that they've been absolutely horrible this year, which is expected. They need to get a franchise quarterback, and hopefully, we didn't ruin ourselves in the draft too much, because right now I think we're sitting 3 or 4. See if we can hopefully lose to the Eagles. Knowing them, they'd
Man,
purposely lose to screw us up. We need some solid depth for O line. Our starters have been amazing, just getting hurt way too much. And a true cornerback one. Deontay Banks is not the is not the answer, I guess. He's just been getting cooked all year ever since he played Amari Cooper on the Browns. I mean, we saw what CD Lamb did to him. took it 70 yards of the house. So he's been a liability. And other than a quarterback, some O line depth, and a new cornerback one, I think we'd be in a pretty good shape.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. But do you trust the Giants to get that plan done?
I don't know. Joe Schoen is on the chopping block. So if he can stay in office this year, I think he's going to get the job done. I think we'll fire our defensive coordinator, which I'm not mad about. And yeah.
All right. So for the Dolphins, since we've decided to not tank and get a high draft pick, I want us to make the playoffs now. I don't expect us, if we do make the playoffs, to make any noise or anything like that. But I want to make the playoffs now. We're already going to have a
Yeah.
middle first round pick, so might as well make some fun out of it and make the playoffs. But for the more further New Year's resolution I have for them is this offseason to please address the obvious issues in the offseason. Get a O-line. Get a better O-line, for the love of God. I don't want to hear Chris Gear laugh in reporters' faces saying that the O-line's fine when it's not fine. I want us to get better linebackers. I want us to get a better defensive line. I want us to become more physical on defense. Do whatever it takes. Fix these problems, because you look at the skills position, there is no reason we should be a middle of the pack team. We should be a favorite to win the Super Bowl when you look at the skills positions. So you just need to address these small problems to make your team really great. And I hope that they finally do that this offseason. That is my New Year's resolution for them. All right, go ahead and give your NBA New Year's resolution.
Okay, so for the Knicks, I don't really have too much to complain about as far as where we're at right now. The only thing I could ask for is for some more depth when it comes to the wings. Um, I think they're fine with the guards, with their depth there with Deuce and Kolek, that they're pretty trustworthy. But we don't have too much wing power in case, God forbid, McCall or OG get hurt, because that would be the worst thing for us right now. But yeah, just really some, I guess, forwards to kind of get it done. But yeah, that's really all I could think about.
You think Alec Burks would help that out?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
I was just
Man,
wondering.
he's like the Tyrod Taylor of. I miss
Man,
him. He's like the
I
Giants' Tyrod
I
Taylor.
am so happy to have him in a Miami Heat uniform, let me tell you. I think we're
He's
like
balling.
5-0 when he plays 20 or more minutes a game. So yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, Knicks legend Alec Burks.
Yep. So I'm obviously going for the Heat here. The New Year's resolution for the Heat: pay Jimmy Butler. I am so sick and tired of every week seeing all of these reports flying around. Oh, Jimmy's looking to be traded. Oh, the Heat are taking offers. Oh, now the Heat are shutting it down. But Jimmy Butler's not going to get a max, and he's going to look to go elsewhere in the offseason. It's like, okay, it's so much noise right now. It's distracting the team. Our team is not as bad as our record shows. And I think a lot of it comes from the distraction of what's going on with the Jimmy Butler stuff right now. And just from the grand scheme of things, Jimmy Butler this past 5 years has made the Miami Heat relevant. This team was a dumpster
Mhm.
fire before he came in. They missed the playoffs for the first time in I don't know how many years the year before he came. It's ridiculous that we're not paying this man. He's put up 7 of the 10 greatest franchise playoff performances, and that 56-point game he had is ranked the third best playoff game in NBA history. So why are
Which,
we not paying? Why
sorry.
are we not paying this man? Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, which, if it wasn't for Grant Clark, we would have been at that game.
All right. That's that's not okay.
I'm sorry, but we
You know
went to
it's
the
a
game
touchy subject.
before.
Yeah, we went to the game before that 56-point game, and Mason brought up the idea of spending the night, and me being a broke teenager said, "No, I can't afford
Oh,
that."
come on.
Okay. So, all right.
Looking back, would you have gone?
Yes, but I didn't know that was going to happen, okay? But we saw a good game.
Mhm.
They blew out the
We
Bucks and
did.
it
We
was
did. We
good.
did.
But obviously, yes, we
Mhm.
missed that game. And it's a touchy subject. But anyways, the Miami Heat's New Year's resolution needs to be paying Jimmy Butler. I get that Jimmy Butler isn't the player he once was, but this should just be a thank you contract thank you for making us relevant again, because we're not going to win with or without Jimmy Butler. So you might as well just pay him and thank him, and then we'll worry about a rebuild after these 2 years. It's only 2 more years. Just give him 2 more years. So yeah, that's my New Year's resolution.
That's a funny quote, I guess. We're not gonna win with or without him.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we're a mid team. I'm
Yeah,
willing to acknowledge that,
yeah,
especially with how bad Bam's been. But that's a completely different conversation.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so MLB, right?
yep, Yankees.
All right. So Yankees, we need a true third baseman. We kind of are just grabbing some of the maybe not mid, but like some kind of just whatever we can get this offseason. We got Cody Bellinger. We got Paul Goldschmidt, Max Fried. So we've had some pretty good signings, but we need a third baseman, and we need to utilize our top prospects, especially Jason Dominguez. And I like Spencer Jones a lot. So um, hopefully, yeah, that's really all I can think of. I mean, pitching is pretty deep. What else do you think?
I don't know too much about this player, but I know he was like considered a top prospect for your organization. Oswald Cabrera, I think his name is.
Oswald
Could you see
Cabrera,
him slide
yeah,
into the third base this year potentially?
absolutely, absolutely. He was pretty big, not last year, but the year before. He'd kind of step in and he'd make some pretty good plays, but I don't know if we'd put him at third.
Mm.
I just don't remember his primary position, but yeah.
Right. All right. I was just
Yeah, I'd
wondering.
like to see him play too, just in
Yeah.
case, give some guys some rest or anything, but yeah.
Um, my New Year's resolution for the Chicago Cubs. Look, I just want to start out by saying I am so proud of the Cubs right now for the offseason they're putting
Mhm.
together. Finally making us relevant again. And a lot of fans were upset about losing Bellinger. I loved Bellinger. He's great. But now we have 25 extra $1 million to spend because we weren't really like Bellinger was in a rough place. We got a stacked outfield now. It looks like they want to go with Michael Busch as our first baseman. He was a rookie of the year candidate. So why not? He has actually better projected stats than Cody Bellinger this upcoming season. So I get it. And now we have more money to spend. So, with that being said, my New Year's resolution for the Chicago Cubs is to use this money and sign one more really solid starting pitcher and get a good closer. The Cubs have not had a good closer, and I don't know how long. It's probably been since Aroldis Chapman was on the team in 2016. We need a
Mm.
guy that can go out in the ninth inning and get you 3 outs, no questions asked. Okay. If they can get a good starting pitcher, a good closer, and then, just a utility bat that can play anywhere in the infield in case there's injuries going around, that's my New Year's resolution from them. And then if they do that, my second New Year's resolution for them is to win the NL Central because they should have the most talented team in the NL Central, and there should be no excuses to win that division. The
Hmm.
Cubs need to be relevant again. I'm praying for it, and I think they're heading in the right direction. So that is my New Year's resolution for them.
Nice.
All right, and now one more final little New Year's celebration thing. I just want to give each of our New Year's resolutions for the show. What is your New Year's resolution for the next year of this show?
Um, I'd definitely I know we kind of talked about some of these things, but I'd definitely like to post more frequently, whether it be TikToks or even just main content but like shorter videos on the main,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube posting spot. Definitely want to get more interaction as far as like viewer engagement. I know it's not too, easily accessible with, I guess, our number of viewers, but still, it'd be kind of cool to get some like maybe fan engagement, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Questions and answers and stuff like that. Definitely want to find more ways to continue and grow to make GM Sports Report like different and unique, other like compared to other podcasts of sports, talk. So yeah, just kind of things like that. I think it'd be a lot more, I guess, fun and interactive, with the people that are watching, kind of tune people back in. But yeah, that's kind of all I can think of.
Yeah, I like that a lot. We definitely need to start coming up with some ideas to post more frequently because I agree
Yeah.
that's something that I want to do. And my New
Hmm.
Year's resolution for the show is also very similar. I just want to keep having fun and growing this channel. I think that we're headed in the right direction. I think we have a very entertaining
Yeah.
show, and I think we just need to keep grinding, keep coming up with new, fun, creative ideas, like you said, and grow the
Mhm.
channel and see how it goes. So I hope this next year we
Yep.
do all those things, and most importantly, keep having fun while we do it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up today's episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on All Things Sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you guys and have a happy new year.
Happy New Year.